Hey friends, it's Joey and welcome back to my channel, Gender Not Found. So my mom is in a meeting and I'm not going to read any more of a Guardian Angel because it's getting pretty freaking intense. I think I might only cut it down to like one or two chapters a day because honestly it's getting pretty intense and reading all that is pretty intense. So I think I'll read as much as I can per day, but I'm letting you guys know it might be only like maybe two chapters or even one chapter only simply because it's just kind of a lot. Like the intensity of it with, people's parents dying and Marshall getting cancer, and it's just all a lot. And that's why I'm taking a break from it to read Trying to Impress Matt. Yeah, but that's why I'm taking a break from it to read Trying to Impress Matt because I need a break. And like I need a break because it's getting pretty freaking intense. Oh, 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 the intensity of it is like messing with me. So, and I'm actually doing what I set out to do, and I'm having because I can't make the video because I can't get the video onto I can't get the video saved on my computer, so I just edited a Guardian Angel, all the chapters I read today. I actually got pretty close to 3 hours, so it's like 2 hours and 40 minutes, I think. So I think I'm just gonna call that a win. But anyway, I did that and I am now exporting that video and rendering it onto my hard drive because it wouldn't fit on my computer. The file wouldn't fit on my computer. Luckily, I have a 1 terabyte hard drive, and if I keep doing what I've been doing and like deleting the YouTube videos from there after I upload them, since there's no sense in keeping them after I upload them. Sorry, Mocha is distracting my attention. He keeps. He's like eating food and just being his ratty self around the cage, so it's really cute. But anyway, um, I've been trying to interact with them a little bit in the cage. Like, if I see them awake, I'll go over to the cage and say hi to them, and sometimes they're good with it, sometimes not so much. I also changed out their water dish, I think, twice today, and I also changed out their food dish once because they decided to poop in it. Seriously, I don't know how, but they pooped in their food dish, so I dumped like whatever was left of the food in the compost. But then I found out that they eat their poop and it's actually good for them. So maybe it was in there for a reason. Like, or maybe it wouldn't have been a problem that it was in there. Like, maybe if it's in the food dish, I can just leave it in the food dish because they do eat their poop and it is good for them. So maybe I should just like leave it in the food dish and maybe they like I don't know if they stored it there to eat it later or if, you know, they just or if they just happen to poop in the food and water dish and then they just like left it there for later on purpose, or if, they were just it it was there by accident, but if I had left it in the food dish, maybe they would have eaten it, or maybe it wouldn't have been a bad thing if, they ate the food that had because obviously I don't want them eating tainted food, but like I don't think it would have been a problem if they had eaten it with their food in it with the food in their poop. But maybe it wouldn't have been a problem if they ate it because they can eat their poop. Um, I noticed a recurring theme when talk about my videos today, like when talking, giving an intro or whatever. There's a lot of talk about rat poop. Um, Okay, I think I want to stop talking about rat poop and actually go in on the story because I think we're on chapter 12 by this point. Yeah, I just uploaded chapter 11 yesterday. I uploaded like 4 chapters in 2 different videos. I'll upload different chapters, but like two different. I'll upload like. I'll upload different chapters, but within like different videos. Like I uploaded chapter 8 to 11 all on the same day, but within two different videos. I uploaded chapter 8, 9, and 10, and then I uploaded chapter 11. So we are on chapter 12. Okay, this is excellent. Okay, we're here on Wattpad, and I'm already looking into books that we can read after after I finish this, or after I read or after I finish reading A Guardian Angel, because I know we're not going to be finished it for probably a really long time. Like, I'm probably going to be at it for weeks on end, especially more if it keeps getting consistently updated. And there could be, I don't know, 100 more chapters or so coming. There could be like a lot more chapters, like a lot more chapters. I don't know how many more chapters there's going to be. Maybe there will be, maybe chapter 134 is the end. Maybe there's a bunch more, maybe there's going to be a lot more uploads. I don't know. I'm not really a fan of reading ahead, so I try not to read ahead if I like, you know, I, I try not to read ahead. Funnily enough, though, I do reread my up, I do like not reread, but rewatch the videos that I've already uploaded. Like it was really interesting that in the the thing that's editing now, we actually had a little flashback. The one that's editing now that I'm gonna post later of a guardian angel, but by the time you see this, a guardian angel post will already be posted. So there was like this flashback to the very first chapter, which was funny because I was watching back on it a few hours ago, like the actual post that I posted. I was rewatching the video. Yes, I watch my own uploads. Like it's kind of like seeing what I can improve on, and just I don't know, I just like watching my old uploads, and sometimes I'll see stuff that I can improve on and I'll be like, okay, I could have done that better. I could have done that better. I've also been a really unapologetic about like messing up, if I stumble over my own words or if I have to go back and read something again, like I'm unapologetic about that. I'll just like I won't apologize. I'll just go back and fix it and then just like for the most part, I try to be really unapologetic because everyone makes mistakes and when you're reading something, you're bound to make mistakes. Like I'm surprised that all like and I'm not a professional reader either. Like a lot of people have like these professional reading channels with like thousands of hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and I'm like, how do you do that? How do you not sound like a piece of garbage? How do you not, and I'm not saying it in like a mean way, I'm just saying, how do you read so well when I can barely read sentences without making mistakes or messing up or tripping over my own words? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm just not meant to be a professional reader, but you guys know I've been doing these fiction uploads every single day, or pretty much every single day. And the point of the fiction uploads is like, first of all, I enjoy it, and second of all, it helps to take the stress away. So, like, if you're watching one of these fiction uploads, it's fun. It's just a lot of fun. Even if I do make mistakes, which, yeah, I do a lot, but I won't even, I'll be really unapologetic about it, and I'll just go back and fix whatever I messed up, and I won't apologize because I shouldn't need to. But, okay, this is getting to be a really long intro, and so we're gonna read the chapter. Oh my god. My intro is like as long as the chapter. Alright, chapter 12. I knew Matt could hear me more acutely now that he had to leave his eyes closed, allowing me to take full advantage of the situation. So, taking one step towards his casual stance against the wall, I watched as his relaxed figure stiffened with unease. What's the matter, Matt? I taunted as I took another step towards him. I was now standing directly in front of him. I was now standing directly in front of him, checking him out from head to toe. I noticed a smirk making its way to his face, giving the impression that he wasn't about to show any weakness. His dark hair hung loosely around his face, making my heart race precariously. To my eyes, he was stunningly and absolutely breathtaking. It's been 20 seconds now, time's ticking away, Matt acknowledged, widening his smirk. I was about to respond with a sarcastic remark, but thought better of it. Time to make him shiver. Positioning my body against his, I applied a little pressure against his lower body, making him groan in response. Not the reaction I was after, but definitely turning me on. I placed my hands on his hips and then slowly, almost tauntingly, I began to stroke my fingers along his stomach. I felt it contract as I swiftly moved my hands against it, and I smiled to myself. This was going to be easier than I thought. Lifting my body so that I was on my toes, I blew into the crevice of his neck, right just under his right ear, and was satisfied when he shivered. I did it again, but this time reached into his ear and blew softly in it. I was equally shocked and ecstatic when his body began to tremble. Smiling widely, I took his ear in my mouth and grazed the lobe with my teeth. Matt let out a low growl. I think I've succeeded in making you tremble and shiver, I whispered in a low tone, but even to my ears, I sounded quite seductive. That's not fair, Rain. What you did just then does not prove that I'm scared of girls, he said disdainfully. Shrugging my shoulders, I leaned away from him so that I was staring directly into his shocked but lustful eyes. You knew the conditions before. He cut me off by grabbing my hips and pressing me closely to him. I gasped, feeling his hardened member against my navel. That does not prove that I'm scared of girls, he replied in a matter-of-fact tone. I looked up into his eyes, blushing at the direct contact, but also confident in how I was the one to turn him on like this. So what does that prove then? I asked flirtatiously, biting my lip. He seemed to be studying my face for a while, but then smirked. I think you know what it proves, he told me as he grasped my hips in his hands harder and pushed me against him again. I couldn't help the moan that came out of my mouth as it hit a weak spot just below my navel. I don't know what it proves, I lied, placing my hands on his stomach, working my way up and under his top. He shivered as my hands moved underneath his shirt, but all I did was chase the lines of his abs. Shit, Wayne, don't act dumb. You're not as innocent as everyone believes. He looked like he was trying to work something out in his head, but he shook it slightly, averting his gaze from my eyes. Is that so? I asked interestedly, moving away ever so slightly, only to be pushed back against Matt's body. Shh, I hear something, Matt whispered as he motioned for me to crouch down to the floor. I did as I was told in confusion, but was comforted when I felt Matt's hands lingering on my shoulder. Just that simple touch caused me to tremble, but I brushed it off by looking up at Matt, who was now crouching down beside me. I think Joe and Leah have escaped. We need a plan. I looked at him like he was crazy because we clearly locked the kitchen from the outside as well as the inside with the chair in the way. Shit, I forgot about the window. Okay, follow me upstairs. I have loaded water guns underneath the cabinet in the bathroom. He looked at me like I was crazy, but I shrugged my shoulders. You never know when you'll need them. He rolled his eyes, but snickered nonetheless, following me as we tiptoed our way up the stairs. I felt his hands grab a hold of mine as soon as we made it to the top safely. Matt, as much as I love the feel of our hands intertwined, I need them so I can face the enemy. I noticed a blush coloring his cheeks, but he shook his head agitatedly. No, idiot, check what I put inside your hand. I opened my hands and saw that he gave me his phone with an open text message. Reading it, I frowned slightly. Shit, they're really pissed, huh? I mused quite loudly. No, they're just two really happy people who find it funny to burn down my poster collection, he stated sarcastically. Oh, please, they're just pictures of naked girls. I'll buy you a bloody magazine full of them later on. He looked like he was actually considering my lame offer, but he shook his head. It took me so long to collect those images. You know how. Well, then it's a good thing we got some water guns, huh? You know how to wash down the posters if they were to get burnt. You know to wash down the posters if they were to get burnt. I joked, but Matt looked seriously pissed. Matt, it's called a joke, relax. I took a hold of his hand and smiled sweetly. When his face softened, I tugged his arm, urging him to follow me into the bathroom. So what's the point of these things? We aim and shoot, then one. Then what? Matt asked as I handed him one fully loaded gun. I shrugged my shoulders and then smiled. I haven't really thought that far into it, but it would be fun to squirt them with these. Hey Matt, doesn't this remind you of when we were kids and we used to play cops and robbers? I asked enthusiastically. I saw Matt look at me from the corner of his eye and then towards the pool. Less talking, more working, he replied as he scanned the perimeter of my backyard. I honestly had to stifle a laugh, because Matt being in some sort of trance mode to shoot water at Joe and Leah was turning out to be a really big turn on for me. Yes, sir, I replied sarcastically. Matt was looking everywhere but behind him, so I took the chance to check that out. Turns out I shouldn't have, because as soon as I did, Leah and Joe threw buckets of water on me and Matt. Rain, aim and shoot, Matt commanded as he started to shoot Joe and Leah. I also did the same, but I was too busy laughing at the seriousness coming from Matt. It was like watching Matt in action when he plays football during football season at school. Everyone knew how competitive he was, so people stayed out of his way. Apparently, Leah realized how pathetic this was and soon gave up alongside myself. So now Joe and Matt were chucking water at each other, while Leah and I took in the view. Well, I looked at Matt, whose wet shirt was clinging to his body like a second layer of skin. His dark hair was sticking to his forehead and cheeks in random directions, giving him a sexy, messy look. However, it was his dark brown eyes which glistened in the afternoon sun that really made my heart race. I can't believe you left me and Joe in the room together. You do realize we were going to kill each other? Leah asked me while I chuckled and rolled my eyes. It seems to me like you two paired up instead, I stated, which landed me a hit in the back of the head. Have I knocked some sense into you yet? She asked, staring intently at the two guys who were still aiming water at each other. I answered quickly. Hey Leah, can I borrow your phone for a sec? Yeah, sure. She handed me her phone as soon as she retrieved it from her back pocket. What do you need it for? She asked suspiciously. Oh, I'm just gonna text a few people to let them know that a pool party is going to start here shortly. Plus, I'm calling my dad to let him know how upset I am that another party is going to happen without his permission. I started to text a few of my friends from school, letting them know what was going on when Leah gasped. You can't do that. You're going to get Joe in serious trouble. As soon as she said that, she blushed and looked away, shrugging her shoulders. Well, it's not like I care, but you're going to get in heaps of shit too. I smoked at the back of her head, and then I looked at Matt, who was raising his eyebrows at me. I looked between Joe and Leah and smoked wider, which caused his face to break out into a wide grin. I'm willing to risk it, I finally told her. She looked at me with a shocked expression, her mouth hanging open and her blue eyes widening ever so slightly, but then she quickly closed her mouth and bit into her lip. Rain, I know that Joe and I don't see eye to eye on anything, but there are limits to what I will do to annoy him. You told me what your dad said last time, and now with that damn guy at school, you know I had to accept a date from him to keep your brother from getting in trouble. Well, it's not like I mind. That guy is extremely gorgeous, but you know. She was speaking too fast and too quickly for me to comprehend everything she said. All I got was Leah not wanting to annoy Joe and that she was going on a date with Dan. Okay, I managed to drag out the O and K for a while, causing Leah to grin widely. I'll call my dad to let him know that we're throwing a little get together with a few friends, since I already texted most of them anyway. But what's going on with you and Dan? I mean, what happened after lunch? I asked quickly, too quickly for my liking, but Leah didn't find my questioning suspicious. No, she looked really happy to notice how quick I was questioning her. Oh, Rain, he was so nice and sweet, talking about what I like and dislike, and before you know it, he asked me on a date. If I didn't know any better, I could have sworn Leah sighed contentedly after she gushed out what happened between her and Dan. But Leah doesn't or hasn't found anyone worthy to date ever, and she has never sighed like that before. Leah, there's something you should know about. I was cut off by Matt picking me up and throwing me over his shoulder. Joe, grab Leah! Matt yelled, which caused Leah to scream out bloody murder and a wide collection of useless profanities. I tugged on Matt's back to let me down, so what does he do? He throws me into the pool. I could hear his musical laughter from underneath the water, causing my heart to stammer, but I knew I needed to get him back. When I came up from underneath the water, I looked at Matt, who was laughing away with Joe. Leah was still struggling to get out of Joe's grip, but it was a useless cause. Matt, that isn't fair. You could have at least told me to put on proper swimwear. I was still in my school uniform, which unfortunately was white with blue stripes, so everything underneath was on display. Darling, it doesn't matter. I can still see what you've got underneath. He winked, which caused me to blush and smile slightly. Joe threw Leah in the pool, not anywhere near me, but the splash did end up reaching me. He then hit Matt in the head, yelling at him to stop flirting with me. Matt! I yelled, causing both Joe and Matt to look in my direction. Leah just surfaced and was breathing heavily. Joe! Leah screamed, climbing up the ladder to run after Joe. I couldn't help but laugh at those two, but I still needed to focus on the current task at hand. Matt, please help me up. I think I'm getting a headache. I pretended to feel sick as I swam towards the edge of the pool. He looked at me like he didn't believe me, but all it took was a few swear words to escape my mouth and holding my forehead for dear life, before Matt stuck his hands out toward me. I gladly accepted his hands, waiting for him to push me up from the pool. As soon as I did, I used all my body strength to drag him into the pool with me, and it worked. Laughing from above the water, Matt gave me a shocked look, which then turned into a wide smirk. Wayne, you shouldn't have done that. It was then that I noticed he was hiding something behind his back. And why is that? I asked suspiciously. He looked at me with his eyes twinkling with mischief. Oh, well, when you dragged me into the pool with you, I didn't have enough time to think about what was in my hands. Such a shame that it's all wet now. He looked a little sad, but I knew he was faking that expression. My heart was rapidly racing in my chest now. What was in his hands? What is now wet? Matt, what's in your hands? I asked very carefully. He looked at my face and immediately smirked wider. Oh, just this book that I found on the table. He motioned towards the table that was just beside the pool, and immediately my heart raced at triple speed and I started to get angry. Please don't tell me that was my new Vampire Academy book, I yelled angrily. One look at him told me my worst suspicion was coming absolutely true. You better know how to swim pretty fast because when I get my hands on you, I didn't finish the threat before I saw Matt swimming to the other side of the pool. Ah, he better swim fast because when I get him, he was dead. I think I'm just gonna do one chapter for now. That was as good as I'm gonna go, and then that's gonna be it. Because, yeah, I've recorded for by this point, I've recorded for about 3 hours today, so I think I'm done. Alright, I love each and every one of you. Please don't forget to always be yourself. You are valid, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!